We're not talking about Caitlin Clark before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this, and pointed to the ring. This is not my opinion. I lived it. I watched it.
Unleashed remarks that appeared to be aimed.
Remarks aimed squarely at Caitlin Clark quickly sparked controversy, but it's what happened next that left everyone talking. When a seasoned commentator like Joy Taylor crosses paths with a rising star like Clark, it's a recipe for drama. Taylor, known for diving headfirst into fiery debates and never shying away from controversy, recently unleashed comments that shook the sports world. Let's just say no one saw what happened next coming. At just 21 years old, Caitlin Clark is more than a rising star, she's a bona fide basketball icon. Her brilliance on the court has captivated millions, each move a mesmerizing display of precision and raw passion.
You were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserved. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing.
But tonight, things were different. Caitlin wasn't dominating the game under stadium lights or stealing the show with her unrivaled athleticism. Instead, she found herself at a formal gala, tucked away at a modest table near the back. Invited through a family connection, she sat quietly, her sharp mind observing the room. The spotlight wasn't hers tonight, or at least, it wasn't supposed to be. Yet, as always, it seemed destined to find her. The evening began like any other elegant affair, light-hearted chatter, eloquent speeches, and servers weaving through the crowd with trays of decadent hors d'oeuvres. The gala exuded sophistication and grace, the air filled with a sense of effortless refinement. Caitlin watched it all with the same intense focus she brought to the court, absorbing every detail. What she couldn't have known was that this seemingly ordinary evening was about to take a shocking turn, one so unexpected it would leave the entire room in stunned silence. Everything changed the moment Joy Taylor took the stage. Taylor, renowned nationwide for her razor-sharp commentary, had built a reputation for captivating crowds and leaving them speechless. Dressed to perfection, she exuded confidence as she flashed a practiced grin and began her presentation. Her wit flowed effortlessly, drawing soft laughter from the audience. But charm, as they say, is a double-edged sword. As Taylor continued, her words took on a sharper, more biting tone. The energy in the room shifted. The audience leaned in, sensing a brewing storm. And at the eye of it all was none other than Caitlin Clark. Joy's voice, smooth and authoritative, gained a sly edge as she paused to scan the crowd. Then, with a smirk, she delivered her next line. Of course, she began, we can't talk about the future of sports without mentioning women's basketball's golden child, Caitlin Clark. Heads swiveled toward Caitlin's table. Caitlin remained perfectly still, her expression unreadable as Joy raised her chin and delivered her words with calculated precision. At first, Joy's remarks sounded like genuine praise. But the mocking undertone quickly became impossible to miss. Must be nice, she teased, her smile hovering somewhere between friendly and confrontational. How can you not shine when the whole game is built around your strengths? The room shifted uneasily. Nervous whispers rippled through the crowd. A few scattered chuckles were quickly swallowed by a heavy, awkward silence. Joy wasn't holding back, and now every eye in the room was on Caitlin. But Caitlin didn't flinch, not a smile, not a frown, not even a blink. Her hands rested calmly on the table, her posture radiating quiet confidence. The air around her seemed to freeze, her lack of reaction speaking volumes no words could match. To an untrained eye, it might have seemed like she didn't care. But anyone paying close attention could sense the truth, her silence was anything but indifferent. It was pure, unshakable strength, a refusal to engage in something unworthy of her. The once warm, convivial atmosphere of the gala had turned stifling, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Even Joy, so sure of herself just moments earlier, faltered. Her smug demeanor cracked, replaced by a flicker of doubt. Caitlyn's silence had shifted the entire room's energy in a way no one could have anticipated. It wasn't defiance. It was discipline. A steel resolve cloaked in grace. It was the same power Caitlyn brought to the court, now commanding an entirely different arena. And then Caitlyn moved. With quiet deliberation, she pushed her chair back, the soft scrape slicing through the heavy silence of the ballroom. Rising to her full, commanding height, she drew every pair of eyes in the room. The space seemed to shrink around her as the focus of the crowd magnetized to her figure. Slowly, deliberately, she began walking toward the stage. Each step echoed with an authority that needed no announcement. The polished floor reflected her movements, amplifying the gravity of the moment. Caitlyn wasn't rushing, nor was she reacting. Every step was calculated, every motion entirely in control. The room collectively held its breath. Just moments earlier, Joy Taylor had owned the stage, her words commanding the room. Joy's confident smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of unease as her gaze locked with Caitlyn's for the first time that night. The fearless journalist, known for her sharp words and unflinching demeanor, appeared shaken. The ballroom, once lively and radiant, seemed to dim under the intensity of the moment. Caitlyn ascended the short steps to the stage, her expression calm and unreadable, as though the tension below didn't faze her in the slightest. Reaching the podium, she paused. The silence stretched unbearably long, wrapping itself around the room like a suffocating veil. The crowd was transfixed, their eyes glued to her every move. It was a collision of two towering presences: Joy, with her razor-sharp wit and bold provocations, and Caitlyn, whose quiet strength carried enough weight to silence an entire room. Provocation had met restraint, and the moment had reached its boiling point. Caitlyn adjusted the microphone with precise, deliberate movements, her eyes sweeping the room before locking back on Joy. Then, with a steady, unwavering voice, she began to speak. Her words carried a gravity that broke through the thick tension like a breeze after a storm. "Thank you for your perspective," she began, her tone calm, composed, and unhurried. Though simple, her opening was profound, and it immediately silenced the murmurs that had begun to stir in the crowd. Her delivery wasn't defensive, nor was it confrontational. It exuded a quiet authority, a natural command that didn't demand respect but effortlessly inspired it. In just a few sentences, Caitlyn transformed what could have been an explosive clash into a masterclass in composure. She didn't shy away from the critique. "When you're in the public eye, that's just how it goes," she acknowledged with a measured nod, embracing the scrutiny that accompanied her success. But Caitlyn didn't stop there. With remarkable poise, she shifted the narrative, captivating the room as she spoke not just about the headlines and statistics surrounding her career, but about something much deeper, the unseen human stories behind them. She reminded everyone of perseverance, struggle, and triumph, the elements that defined her and so many others beyond the surface. Her words resonated far and wide, not just with Joy, whose sharp commentary had ignited this moment, but with everyone in the ballroom. Her message rippled through the room, carrying a profound and undeniable truth. She didn't lash out or defend herself alone, instead, she elevated the conversation, turning it into something much greater. The tension that had once gripped the air began to soften, dissolving into a collective moment of reflection. Caitlyn's poised response transcended personal defense, evolving into a universal message of empathy. She reminded the room of the humanity often forgotten in a world quick to judge its stars and critics alike. For a few moments, the room was utterly spellbound. Judgment gave way to understanding, and division was replaced by admiration. The audience hung on her every word, captivated by the depth and grace of her message. By the time Caitlyn finished speaking, the room erupted not with polite applause, but with a thunderous ovation that seemed to catch even the audience by surprise. Some rose instinctively to their feet, while others hesitated briefly before joining in. Together, they created a wave of celebration, a unified recognition of what they had just witnessed. It wasn't merely an acknowledgement of Caitlyn's composure, it was an outpouring of admiration for the wisdom and strength she had displayed in a moment that could have easily overwhelmed anyone else. Caitlyn had taken control of the stage, the room, and the narrative not with force, but with grace. And in doing so, she left an indelible mark on everyone in attendance.